How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the competing town halls between Donald Trump and Joe Biden that happened last night, which was Thursday, October the 15th, 2020. Trump had his town hall over on NBC with Savannah Guthrie. Savannah Guthrie's husband is a guy by the name of Michael Feldman. He was a traveling chief of staff for Al Gore back in the year 2000. Joe Biden had his over on ABC with George Stephanopoulos. Stephanopoulos used to be the press secretary for Slick Willie, aka Bill Clinton, back in the 1990s when he was the president. So what you have here is the swamp. All right, ABC, NBC, Savannah Guthrie, Stephanopoulos. You most certainly have the swamp that are conducting these town halls. All right. There were some reports that came out that the NBC staffers, I'm talking about everybody from the talent, execs, all the way down to the camera people. A lot of people over at NBC were upset that the town hall was happening at all, first of all, but also right at the same time as Joe Biden's town hall, because they want Joe Biden to win. They say Orange Man's bad. They don't want him to be there. All right. So, of course, the town halls were handled very differently. All right. Joe Biden was handled with kid gloves. You're talking about softball questions from Stephanopoulos and kind of from the audience. We'll get into that in a little bit. Not much challenging from Stephanopoulos. I think it was one point where Amy Coney Barrett came up, and then he was like, well, isn't the president for 4 years, not 3? You understand? Real soft voice, kind of just not really trying to be aggressive, just putting it out there to say, okay, I did put it out there, but not being very aggressive. Now, compare that to Savannah Guthrie and how she handled Donald Trump. What I saw was a debate between President Donald Trump and Savannah Guthrie. That's what it was. It was a full-on debate. All right. I said that on my Twitter. I was like, that was a great debate between Donald Trump and Savannah Guthrie. It was like a redo of the first debate between Trump and Biden, but rather than Biden being there, it was Savannah Guthrie. All right. And her face throughout the whole thing was ridiculous. Like, she tried to have this professional smile, but it was like this big scowl at the same time. It was like a demon was trying to escape her. And there's a screenshot somewhere. I'll place that on the screen before you. You see how she's kind of like scowling, but at the same time smiling. It was crazy, really ridiculous. Every single argument that he'd bring up, she'd be fighting against, she'd be hammering questions. Like, you're talking about a retweet that he did that she didn't like. And she's like, oh, you can't retweet everything. You're not someone's crazy uncle. And then it came down to a thing about white supremacy. It's like, do you denounce white supremacy again? They ask him that every single time. And he immediately says, I denounce white supremacy straight away. But she asked him the same thing a few more times. It's like, why are you asking me the same thing over and over? I just answered you. Okay. Do I denounce? Yes, I denounce. Move on to the next question. Okay, that's what he said. Move on to the next question. It was really, really ridiculous. All right. And I heard, allegedly, this has not been verified, that when he got off the stage, he was like, I thought it would have been worse. She tried. God bless her, but she tried. It was a big time hit job from NBC because they don't like him over there. Neither does Savannah Guthrie. It was crazy. But I think there was a lot of support in the room for Trump. One lady came up and said, oh, you're very handsome when you smile. That was a funny moment. There was also a black woman behind Trump who was not in agreement with things that he was saying. People didn't like that too much. All right. They probably did not anticipate that. They might have thought that she could have been anti-Trump or somebody that would have been, having body language that was going against him. But that didn't happen. There was a white liberal journalist on the Twitters who was trying to get her docs, talking about, oh, you guys got to find out who that is. If you don't, you're not worth your salt, all this, that, and the third. It's like, why you want to know who she is? Why you want to find her out? Why you want to try to, what you want to tell on her employer or something like that? For agreeing with things that the president was saying? I mean, why would that be a bad thing? What he was saying during the town hall made a lot of sense to me. You're talking about how before the virus, you had very low unemployment, booming economy. The things that he was saying just made sense. All right. Savannah Guthrie and the whole squad over there were just trying to do an attack job. And it was kind of weird how some of the questions were being asked. It will be a lady that comes up and says, hello, Mr. President, how are you doing? Being very nice and smiley. And then she would come with this crazy question talking about, well, did you think that the virus would be bad as it is because you told Bob Woodward back on this day that you knew it was airborne, and why didn't you do anything to stop it? It was like it started really, really nice to kind of soften them up, to kind of catch them off guard, or to try and catch them off guard. It didn't work. And then it went into this kind of negative and dark place. That happened quite a few times. I feel like that was a strategy from NBC. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm just saying that's how I feel because that's how some of the questions sounded. But he answered every question really well. I think he did better in this debate. He was really calm, cool, but at the same time, Trump. I mean, you're not going to get a guy that's not going to say much of anything and not be any kind of way animated. You're not going to get Mike Pence. And Pence did a great job, don't get it twisted, but he's more of the cool, calm, collected kind of guy. Trump's going to be animated. Trump's going to be Trump, but he wasn't doing too much interruption and whatnot from the crowd. He'd hear your question and give you a straightforward and honest answer. But at the same time, he still had that energy within him. So I thought he did a really good job during this debate with Savannah Guthrie and answering some of the audience's questions. Overall, I think he did a really good job, even though it was a hostile environment. Now, Joe Biden was over in Philadelphia. And my question is this. All right, Trump was in Miami. So he's flying around different places, going here, there, everywhere, going to D.C., going West Coast, East Coast, Midwest, down South. He's going everywhere. But Biden pretty much stays close to home because Wilmington is not that far from Philadelphia. It's like right outside Philadelphia. So you might come outside of your home, but you're right there in Wilmington, or you might go to Philly. I think he's been to Philly like 18 times, but he does not travel that much. So I need Joe Biden to travel a little bit further from home. Don't just come outside your house and be like, okay, I left the basement. You're only about 15 miles away, sir. Go a little bit further than that, but I digress. So he's out there in Philadelphia answering questions, softball questions from George Stephanopoulos, not much challenging at all. Shout out to the young black man that came out on stage and said, hey, Mr. Vice President, what can you tell me as a young black male voter that would have me vote for you aside from you ain't black? I thought that was an excellent question. Joe Biden rambled for like an eternity after that. He was talking for a really long time, trying to answer the question, talking about, we got to build wealth. We got to do X, Y, and Z. But he didn't really get down to the core of the question, in my humble opinion. And the core of the question was, rather than insulting me, what are you really going to do? Are you going to insult me again? Are you going to stop insulting me? That part of the question, I think, didn't really get answered. And he was talking for so long, Joe Biden, that is. Stephanopoulos jumped in and asked the young man, hey, did you hear what you need to hear? Which is kind of a weird question. Did you hear what you wanted? It's like the question should be, did he answer the question properly? Not, did you hear what you wanted to hear? You see what I'm saying? Don't just tell me the things I want to hear. Give me your honest answer. Okay? Answer the question. Give me the answers. Not just, did I hear what I wanted to hear? But the young man was like, he didn't seem too satisfied with the answer. Okay? So, yeah, that was kind of a fail for Joe Biden. Later on in the town hall, a lady got up and said, hey, I have two daughters. I have a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old, and my youngest is transgender. And we have President Trump rolling back rights for transgender Americans in the military and all this, that, and the third. What are you going to do to protect the rights of transgender Americans? And Biden spoke for a while, and then he was saying, well, I'll protect the rights of your 8-year-old transgender, quote unquote, daughter. If you have an 8-year-old that says, hey, you know what? I want to be a girl now rather than a boy. You have to be the parent and say no. They can say whatever they want to say. They can ask for whatever they want to ask for. When I was a little boy, I was like, hey, can I get this Power Ranger or this X-Men action figure for $8? Mom be like, no, I don't have the money. That's it. So she told me no. I've been told no more than once. Your child should be able to get told no. And if they can't, then do you have any dominion over your children, or is it up to the state? You see what I'm saying? You should not be allowed to do anything like that as far as becoming transgender until you become an adult. Same thing with anything else. Okay, you want to smoke weed, you want to drink liquor, you want to join the military. All right, become an adult. Simple. You want to get married, have kids. All right, become an adult. That's just how I look at it. It should be the same thing with becoming quote unquote transgender. So that was a really epic fail, in my humble opinion, from the so-called moderate Joe Biden. Overall, his town hall was pretty dry, really. I had to get toothpicks basically in my eyes to stay awake and watch it. I didn't see the whole thing. I saw probably about 40 minutes of it, of the 60. So I made it pretty far. That's an accomplishment for me, but I didn't see the whole thing. It was too much. I did watch the entire thing of Trump because really it was more entertaining as a debate than anything else. That was not a town hall. That was not impartial. That was nothing like that. It was a debate between him and Savannah Guthrie with some occasional moments of clarity from the crowd. The crowd was much more fair than the so-called moderators or the hosts, because the moderators and the hosts, they live in DC land. They don't really leave. They're pretty much trapped in the bubble. Anything that Savannah Guthrie was asking Donald Trump are the same things they be saying in DC all the time. And then the break room in NBC, the water cooler, it's the same thing. So when the staff heard that Trump was going to be there, they probably were asking her, ask him this, ask him that, ask him that. And she had her own questions. That's what was going on. Okay. She was hammering on them questions. She kept answering over and over again. It was a mess. And Joe Biden, he's getting, slow pitch softballs with not even an aluminum baseball bat, a wiffle bat. You out there just playing around, having the field day, because the left wants you to win. The media bias is clear as it's ever been. So as I close, I want to say this. The town halls revealed a lot, in my humble opinion. It just revealed more of how the media are biased. And it also revealed that Trump can handle himself in those kind of situations where you get questions coming from here, questions coming from there. He did better this time than he did in the first debate. And I look forward to the second debate, which would be October 29th with Kristen Welker from, I think she's from MS13 DNC or NBC, whatever it is. And she deleted her entire Twitter account already. Pretty interesting, considering the guy, Steve Scully, who was going to be the moderator at the debate that got canceled, he had a whole Twitter issue as well. Remember the whole thing where his Twitter account got quote unquote hacked and tweeted Scaramucci about Trump? Like, should I address him? Should I talk about whatever? That was a lie. He did not get hacked. That was him sending the tweet to Scaramucci. All right. So maybe she does not want to have anything like that pop up and make her look crazy, because it probably is something there. The swamp is deep. It ain't just the politicos. It's pretty much everybody in DC, including the newscasters. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Did you enjoy the town halls between Trump and Biden? How do you feel about the so-called moderation, the hosts, or whatever they want to call themselves, in Savannah Guthrie and George Stephanopoulos? You guys know how I feel. It was a debate between Trump and Savannah Guthrie, and I think Trump did a very good job. He succeeded in winning. Shout out to the black lady that was behind him nodding. That was beautiful optics. Loved it. Black voices for Trump. All that good stuff. How do you feel about Joe Biden's town hall? Was it biased? Was it clearly biased? Or is it just me being biased and looking at it through my lens? Whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.